In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a very simple form because that's required by the assignment. So to make a form at its very most basic, all that you need to do is declare a form section. So I've used form tag and of course a matching closing form / form here. Within that, I've declared two text areas, two text fields, one where the user will put their first name in and one where the user will put their second name in. And notice that what I've got is some text that will show up just above the field. Then here I'm telling the browser what sort of a field it should be. In this case it's for text entry. And then I'm giving it an ID and a name. And I've called the first name one F name, and I've called the last name one L name. And then I've put three radio buttons, which are going to be called gender, so they match together. And they are, give the choice of male, female, or other. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go onto the browser and I'm going to show you. It looks terrible because I've done no styling at the minute, but at its most basic, there is a text box, another text box, and I can choose one of these buttons. They're a set because they all have the same name. I'm going to pause this and add some styling, and I'll explain that to you in a second. I've added some simple styling at the top, one style section, and it's for any input that is of type text. I've got rid of the radio buttons at the bottom, and I've said I'd like it to be 100% of the width of the screen or of the window. I'd like some padding, different sizes around the box, margins. I'd like a box. I'd like a certain size border that is solid and red, and the radius gives it little curved corners. So what I'm going to do is I've just saved that, and here's my page as it appears. First name and a space, last name and a space. In theory, that's all you need, but it doesn't have a submit button. To use a proper submit button, we need to attach it to some other coding that I don't want to go into here. So I'm going to pause and I'm going to add one little extra piece that will give it a button to finish this off. So I've added these lines. The first line will make a button. It will give you some text. This was taken directly from somewhere else. I would like to change that to something like press to submit, something along those lines. And then there's an extra piece here. So I've actually put JavaScript here, a little script. So if you haven't already put a script in, this script will run making a little alert box. We ought to change this to something so that it's more meaningful. So what this is saying is draw a button, and when it's clicked, go and call a particular function, and I've said function press button, so I have to make sure my function is called that. And I believe it's case sensitive, so I have that there, and we ought to write something more useful. Your reply is being sent, something along those lines. Now this will in fact, although it's a JavaScript which meets our need here, it won't, although it's saying it's going to be sending the reply, it's actually not going to pick up the content of that form. That would take us a little bit further along, and that's beyond our scope today. So I'm going to save. I'm going to refresh. There's my submit button. And when I press it, it now says your reply is being sent. So that's the form done.